could have. I could have.
Welcome to our Scottish forest near Fintry. Just rode the bike about 2 miles down that road there, and I'm about to go off the beaten path to find some ancient Druid stones. I briefly know where I'm going on the maps. I think it's down there, but it's going to be a bit of a mission, this one. I'm told that it's not too far down here, but I'm in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And we're going to visit some ancient Druidic stones called the Macher Stones. These stones have been here since the Neolithic period, so about 4,000, 5,000 years ago, and they've been represented by, some say they're represented by Druidic origins. I'm going to go and show you them right now. I'll just show you where I'm venturing into here. I'm literally walking into the middle of a forest on my Todd. Have a wee look at this. This is Bigfoot territory, that's what this is. There's a slight path, which is what I'm following. I know the general direction. It's supposed to open up into a clearing, and the 2 stones are supposed to be in the middle of the clearing. Now, what's also been said about these stones is thousands of years ago this forest wasn't here, so when we approach them you need to almost picture without the trees, and kind of use your imagination to try and perceive the fact that the stones, when they were erected for whatever purpose they were put there for, didn't have all these trees around them. And I think I've been told that they're at an elevated height, so it would have made it a little bit more, oh, almost fell in there, it would have made it a little bit more powerful, you know, without these trees encroaching around it. The view would have been a little bit more powerful, but we'll have a look for ourselves. The ground's very soft, so I need to watch myself. I am literally on my own here. Wee bridge, yep, this is the right direction. Beautiful, it's dead peaceful, and maybe a wee bit scary. So I don't think they're very far from that path. The path that I just drove up there, off-road, and I'm going off-road. So where the path ends, adventure begins. This is the adventure. You can imagine these places back in the olden times, ancient peoples, and what these stones must have been used for. Apparently, like the last few sites I've visited, oh, there they are. Oh my god, that wasn't good. There they are in the distance. It's got a very tranquil feeling, just like the last place I went to. There they are. We've traversed the forest and we've made it to the Macher Stones of Scotland. Here we are. Wow, see the clearing? The Macher Stones. As you can see around this big stone that's still standing, there's a bit of a dip, and it's said that there's supposed to be an artificial enhanced layer here, which meant the stones are a little bit higher and a little bit more elevated than the rest of this place, which you can kind of see. And if you walk 10 yards in any direction, it starts to go downhill, so you can just try and picture, without any of these trees being here, it would have been a marker on the land, much like most of the rest of them. But obviously 4,000 years, 5,000 years have went past, so it's been a long time. Just the resident midges that are here these days. As you can see, this second one is taller than that one here, and this one's said to have fallen over, possibly because thousands of years ago there was a cyst underneath, which was excavated and buried, which caused the ground underneath this one here to alter and dislodge and tip over slightly, which, as you can see, the two of them together, that one's a lot taller, would have probably stood about 2-3 foot higher, and it would have made a little bit more of a marking, but it's dented slightly, which is a shame. That's what happens in time. It's said that there's supposed to be 7 cup markings on this one. I can kind of see them, but I'm not sure whether that's, there's one kind of there, look, we indent there. They don't know whether that's man-made or whether it's just worn off over time. There's some cup markings there. I'm absolutely getting eaten alive here by midges, but it's worth it. What a cool sight, by the way. I have no idea where I am around about me because it's just trees. The Macher Stones. We tend to think of Druids as old men or with big beards and stuff like that, and that kind of ties to the fact that with ancient subjects and with most subjects in general, it takes a long time to establish a certain level of knowledge, and these Druids were no different. They obviously were possibly older members of the public, of the culture, and they were held in higher regard, and they were held because they had certain wisdom through their old age and their years of experience. And it's often described that Druids were priests, but this isn't the case. They were more philosophers of their time, and people would go to them for, as I've said, their wisdom, and they would usually oversee rituals and ceremonies because of their experience. And Druidry is more of an earth religion. It's more deeply connected to the earth and the plants and the things around. These Druids apparently presided over ceremonies and rites, and they were the ones that were in charge and kind of manoeuvred the communities to perform certain rituals, and all we know of about that time, which isn't much because it was so long ago, but you can only speculate, and you can only look at the records that we do have. And sites like this, old sites that will probably be over time get more and more falling into disrepute. It's a shame, but that's why I come to visit them, you know what I mean? Show them to the world before they're too long gone. 4,000 years these have been here for. You just imagine what some of the stuff that might have gone on in this place, you know. I'm going to read you a wee quote from Julius Caesar about Druidry and in relation to this site. They have many discussions as touching the stars and their movement, the size of the universe and of the earth, the order of nature, the strength and the powers of the immortal gods, and hand down their lore to young men. Quote from Julius Caesar describing the Druids. Some camping that's been going on here by the looks of it. There's a half-eaten fish. There's a lot of beasties all over it. Not the most pleasant looking thing. So in regards to Julius Caesar's quote, it kind of shows Druids as more like mathematicians, and as previously mentioned, more philosophers than just priests. There was an investigator that came to these stones called Nina Harris, who was trying to get some alignments and trying to get some due north points and stuff like that. And our compass, when she was standing here in the middle of these two stones, read north, and when she walked in the same direction 10 yards away, our compass read northwest, and it messed with our compass slightly, which is not highly unusual in sites like this, because there's a lot of magnetic anomalies that are said to go on around places like this. And some of these stones, not possibly these ones, but a lot of megalithic stones in Britain and other places are presumed to possibly have quartz crystals in them. But that is yet unproven. But they believe that could possibly be the reason why there's magnetic anomalies. But she reported, and other people have reported, seeing magnetic anomalies with compasses at sites such as this one, which is extremely interesting, considering how old these are. Despite their lack of grandeur, the stones definitely have a very peaceful feeling to them. And this forest in general, it's just beautiful being out in nature and getting out the house for a wee bit and visiting these historical sites. I mean, look how cool it looks with the sunshine just as the sun's going down. You can see the sun beating through. Lovely wee spot to camp, I would imagine. Let's venture off the path ever so slightly. Seems to be even more of a path down here. Just dense forestry. I haven't seen too much wildlife, probably scared of me, apart from that wee frog and that dead fish. We come to the end of our path and of our journey to see the Macher Stones in Scotland. Beautiful, beautiful place. Very, very peaceful. You can only wonder what went on here and preceded my visit thousands and thousands of years into the past. I'm going to make my way slowly back, make sure I don't get into some sinking sand. Back to the bike in one piece, and back up the road to Glasgow. Beautiful, beautiful place. And I'll leave you and sign out as I walk back on the path. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this content, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Helps me out a lot. And if you fancy, like and comment as well. Thanks again for watching, and from Finchley, Scotland, and the Macher standing stones. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.